let's record this one, and then I'll check after the first record. Okay, so just one advice for me personally. It's not about like technique, but it's about just a general strategy. Is that it's always easier. I mean, everybody likes up until a certain point. I know a lot of players around 10Q, and they also like that. So even they're like 10 stones stronger than you, but they still play for the same kind of strategy. They all like this kind of play, like this sort of half and half, splitting the board in half sort of thing, which seems like a very reasonable thing to do, but actually not. It doesn't often happen in professional Go. If you look at professional games, you will never see that. And the reason is that this is a little bit too unsafe, too insecure. Because right now you're splitting the board in half, and then if at some point you will discover that you're losing the game by 10 points, there won't be any space to reverse that. And vice versa for your opponent. So it's a very kind of insecure sort of strategy. So, and that's exactly what happens in the game. You split the board in half, one of you gets a little bit luckier than the other, and then your opponent is losing by like 10 points. And then he has to try something which is impossible, but he tries it anyway because that's what happens. So my suggestion is just, it's kind of like why we don't like invest all the money we have into one company that could, just go bust after that. We try to diversify. And the same thing here, you try to diversify and put your stones in several locations so that nobody gets this 150 point area. But everybody has smaller areas that are more easily manageable. So that's my big suggestion. Try to slowly get away from this sort of game where you just taking half the board and into something else. Like for example, here right now, this could be an interesting moment to, instead of keeping the focus on the lower half of the board, this lower right, to do something about the upper left corner. The upper left corner is open, so you can now approach it and establish some presence on the left. Why not do that? Instead, you do this one. It's not a bad move, but it's again putting all the eggs in one basket.
Okay.
So do this one now, and your stone won't die. Yes, it will be a weak group, but that's okay. That's absolutely fine. Even like white kicks you, you extend, white jumps, you do this jump. It's not 100% alive yet, but this way, white will never get this overwhelming area in the upper left. Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so find that moment. Find that moment for an easy invasion. Don't wait like till this moment when at this point you're like, okay, if I want to invade now, that looks difficult. Like because whatever you do, you won't get a base. You invade like there, ooh, now you need to struggle in the corner. You invade here, what is this? No base. White starts to attack, where to run? So all of the, like, of course an invasion is possible. There is something like this or this, this or this, maybe something like this, or maybe just something like in the middle, or maybe even in the corner. All of those points are possible, but looks scary. A little bit scary, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the point. Don't wait, but do it earlier. And then at some point, you gotta start playing the big things. You have no time for a move like this. It's a big game of big areas and big territory. If you got yourself into this game of big investments, then you need to match the investments. This is not a big investment move. We need to play something big. I mean, look at this. When this area closes, you'll never get in there. You'll be too scared to get in. I mean, in the end you will, but for now it would look too scary. So this is about to close, and that is just one little point, a couple of points. no time for that one. We have to do something about the lower area. So it's now or never. You play this move, your opponent plays this one, or maybe even something like this. I don't know, something like this, and you never get in anymore. So now, let's come up with some move to reduce that area. Not too deep, but not too shallow.
Okay. All right, let me ask a question. What about a shoulder hit at J9?
J9. Okay, sure. But this is going to be like mutual destruction because white now has the option, instead of closing the area, white can start going inside yours and say, okay, you can destroy my area, but I can destroy yours. And then if you keep going, white will keep going, and you will keep this mutual destruction. White will like erase some of yours, you will erase some of his. It's hard to predict who's going to lose more. So yeah, possible. You could also, of course, think about something which will also close your area. So, for example, white has about like this, and your line is about like this, right?
Yeah.
So these are the two lines, and you can kind of try to make a move that will. It's your choice, actually. You can choose to make a move to close yours, or invade his. So J9 is possible, yes. Let me erase this. What else?
Well, closing mine, I can think of L9
L9, yeah. L9, sure. L9, yes.
closing,
Or L8,
or
yeah. This is,
yeah,
yeah. So these moves are definitely more interesting than that one, for sure. Because if white now plays this move, it's all right. You could just connect, and only one cut left. White push, block, nothing. Nothing happening. Everything seems to be protected. If white cuts, you extend, nothing. White's gonna die there. Not enough space to live, and no weaknesses. So looks okay. No need to protect. Almost anything is okay. You could start doing things like these, or even deeper, or deeper. So any of these moves, or maybe this one, threatening to invade at c8 next. There's actually a lot of moves are possible. I don't know which one's the best, but a lot of different things are possible, depending on what you want to do. Do you want to enclose yours, or more like destroy his? So this, okay, this, and this was very, very slow move from white. Like, it's not the end of the game yet. There's still a lot of moves to be played. For example, this move is very, very big. Keeping the corner and kicking your stone, so big. This one is second line, and Gote. White connect here. This is too slow, and this is what makes white lose this game. After this, you cut, do this, and now you're winning the game. So pretty much that's it. Tan tan tan. Everything. Capture the stone. Now I have a question. Do you need to capture the A stone? Do you need to physically capture it, or not?
no.
Are you sure?
Well, I was until you said that. Uh,
I just want you to, look more closely and verify that. Can that A stone escape? Is there any way for it to escape?
oh. If he goes, I mean, if he extends, he's only got one move, right?
Yeah.
So if he goes to J6,
Mm-hmm.
then I go to K5.
Sure. Oh,
And
K5.
he's
Sorry. Oh.
K5.
Okay. Yeah.
Now he's in the net.
Yes, you can also do a ladder if you want. You can do like
Yes.
this one and 3, 4, 5, 6
Yes.
like this. Yeah, like a ladder. Yeah, sure. So this stone, you're right. It cannot escape. Absolutely not. And so that means that capturing that stone, you don't need to do that. You don't need to take it off the board because it's as good as taken. So yes, this move is played, and then after this, you cut this, and then you take. And that's why I asked the question. Why do you take? If you're sure, as you said now, if you're sure that the stone doesn't escape, and you're positive that you can catch it in a ladder or a net, then why take? This is -1 point. You never know. Of course, in
And I
this game,
probably should have.
yeah. If you want, if you want to make it simpler, like make sure that there is no invasion. Again, if you're sure that you're winning the game, then maybe yes, protect the corner, because this is probably where it's going to be easiest for your opponent to try something. After you've protected the corner, it's going to be a lot easier for you to control this. So you take, and then you try this, try to escape from the ladder, which is impossible. And now you protect. Good. And now pass, and your opponent starts an invasion. So this, okay. In such cases, when something like this happens, you can try to always like eliminate their liberties in the most decisive way. So in the game, you play this one, which allows white to kind of keep going. But if you just go from this side, this is like immediately leaving white with only 2 liberties. And this is protecting your side, right? This is protecting this area. This is now protected. And white only has 2 liberties. So this is a more, I mean, everything works. What you played also works. And because this is so protected, then that almost any move is going to work. I'm just trying to suggest a move that will give you a better guarantee.
Yeah.
Like keeping your opponent at the minimum amount of liberties. Just block like this. White has nowhere to go. I mean, yes, there is some kind of danger here, something like that. But there is no danger because the stones have 2 liberties. You just take them, and that's it. After that, no danger. And as soon as white starts doing something, you can just protect. Make sure that no cuts, nothing, and white is dead. Okay, and then this is a ladder. And finally, the big question here. How did white manage to survive? So this happens. And again, what is the most like simple and most guaranteed response now? White is trying to get out in somehow in that direction. So how to respond? What is the safest way?
J3.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking, and that's what I would do. Because those stones, you can take them. Of course you can. But you don't need them. You don't need to take them. Everything is dead. They're dead. And so your job is not to capture stones. Your job is to make sure that white gets the minimum amount of space. Because with minimum space, white won't be able to make even 1 eye, let alone 2. That's your job. When you play this move, mission complete. White has no space, nowhere to go. Even if white connects here, it's pointless. Okay, white connects 2 dead stones and 1 dead stone, now has 4 dead stones, but nothing is.
Yes.
Yeah, and those 4 dead stones have nowhere to go, so you can probably even ignore. You don't even have to continue this, and you can just pass. And you don't need to play anything else. You don't need to do this one, for example, because white doesn't have space enough to make 2 eyes there. So you pass. If white does this one, block. Nothing. But in the game, Atari, and now we're giving white kind of a chance to break out. You captured 2, but now white starts going in that right direction. So white does this. How to respond? I'm guessing you don't remember what you actually played, so how would you
Yeah, I
respond
don't
now?
remember, but
Let's think of a safe.
well, I don't want him going to the right, so I'm thinking maybe M2.
At M2 would have been a perfectly acceptable response. Sure, absolutely. You can either play K2 or M2. Either way, like K2 would split him and separate him the 2 stones on the left from this stone, or this way you keep them all together but small. And yes, very, very reasonable move. He's attaching, so we respond to the attachment. Always respond.
Yeah.
Especially if he's attaching inside your area. This is dangerous. So he attaches. Hane. Yes. Do something. And now if white does, I don't know, this, what next?
Okay, K3.
K3. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. There's a cut at M3, right? So
M3, yes.
how about now? Can white make 2 eyes with that space?
White make 2 eyes.
Is there a move for white that would enable him to make 2 eyes?
I don't think there's not a single move.
Yeah, probably not a single move. So that means that if there is no single move, then you can just even do something like that, just to make sure that there is no cut, nothing, and then whatever he does next, you kill. So for example, he plays this move, and then what do?
L1.
L1, yeah, L1. Just reduce and make it smaller, and that's it. And I don't know what else you can try. This one.
Okay, I can ignore this, I think.
No, you can't.
Although, no, you have to do this G1.
Yes, G1 is otherwise he plays there and makes 2 eyes. So that's
2 eyes.
That's it. What you could also do, by the way, this is a little bit more advanced, but is that right now this cut is possible. I mean, this M3 cut is possible, but whenever the cut happens, you can always save the A stone as the more important stone and let him take the B stone. But he won't get another eye with that. Let me show you what I mean. So for example, now you just go and destroy his shape completely with this Atari. And he cuts. And then you save the stone. And then even if, suppose he does this and you let him have that stone, you can do this, and it's a false eye. As soon as you get this and this in both corners of that eye,
Yes,
the
it's
eye
a false eye.
the
yes.
eye is false. Yeah. So this is what another possibility. You like even there, if there's a cut, you know that because you have so many stones around, you can allow yourself to be creative. You can allow him to capture some stones, but even capturing stones won't make him eyes, because you're strong everywhere, and he now will be forced to run somewhere in that direction, but there is no that direction. You have too many stones there, so white won't be able to make anything there. So white is running, but white has 0 eyes and no potential to make them. I mean, it is possible to just connect like this and sure, but in this case you need to be sure of your life and death, that this is dead. You need to know it's dead and be confident that you can kill this. But what I'm saying is that there are multiple ways. You could just connect here, you could do this one, everything works. But in the game, you didn't do this. White just attached, and this is our one of the most essential principles. We always react to an attachment. But in the game, you do this one. It's a good thing, but you're not responding to the attachment. So white continues. And again, it's not a mistake, because of course white still wouldn't be able to live here. But I'm saying that it's easier to just follow the rules. Your opponent attaches, respond. He attaches,
Okay.
hane. And now you're doing the double hane. Why? Why are you making it complicated? Double hane is if you're defending. You're not defending, you're attacking, you're trying to kill. So keep it simple. It's extend. Don't do the double hane. I mean, even the worst thing you could do is maybe this. But why, right? Why give him that stone? Why make it easier for him?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No,
Yeah.
no, but this is a similar idea. You're playing a stone and you're setting up a series of Ataris. Now white can do Atari, and make shape, maybe like this. And now immediately, suddenly out of nowhere, white is making something. So you don't want that to happen. So just extend. Don't give him an easy Atari, easy shape making moves. So always respond to attachments,
okay.
and don't make fancy shapes. Just make simple extensions whenever possible. Don't allow your opponent any forcing moves.
Okay.
So he does that, this, and again, this is an attachment, essentially. This is basically an attachment. So what do?
Extend.
Yes, which way?
I don't want him to cut, so Q4.
But can he cut if you go down?
No.
No. So
If he goes to Q, if he now goes to Q4, I can block, and he can't cut there.
Yep, nothing, no cut, yeah. So this is also possible, and this way you're keeping him under control. His area is small, and you're controlling it. If he blocks, you have like this Atari, double Atari. If he fixes something here, now we need to, I don't know, this Atari maybe. Try to make it smaller. But it's already getting a little bit more difficult, and that's what I mean by, okay, it happened because A, you didn't respond to a couple of attachments, and B, you played a fancy shape instead of simply extending. You played a shape which allowed him extra Ataris. So we don't do that.
Okay.
We minimize his creative possibilities. We make the game dry, if possible. We make it very simple and no chance.
When he did, well, you see what I did.
Yeah.
When he attached there, that
And that is a very nice move. This move, that's the very nice shape move. Perfect.
Which one?
This one, R4. This is the correct move, I think, and he found the best
For
white. Yes, he found a very good move, and he found a very good move to punish you for not responding to this move. So he's attaching again, and you're ignoring him again, so he gets to play and attack your corner. And that's how your corner will now, you do this, and this is already too much. You probably need to do this, but the game is getting more and more complicated, and requires you, and the more complicated it gets, it doesn't mean that you're losing it. It means that it requires you more and more precision from you. Is that maybe now you can still kill, but you need to find the only sequence that kills. Before, you had like any move worked. Now we're down to the last defenses. We're down to the situation where maybe only this one works. And this is kind of a problem situation, so we do this, and if white extends, it's just like that book that you were solving. So what to do?
S5.
Actually, they both work, I think. S5 works, yes, S5, and then white cannot do this. And maybe even this one works, because if white plays here, you capture. And if white plays here, 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 block, and capture. So it seems like white dies and you win anyway. But that's like, you need to find this sequence. But in the game, you play this move, and now this move, and now white can already capture the 4 stones and live. White didn't find it in the game, but that's already on the table. So that's the thing. Simplify. When your opponent invades into your fortified area, simplify everything. Make him as small as possible and minimize his creative possibilities. So every time he attaches to something, respond. Every time he does something, think of how can you make his space smaller. If he has a very small space, maybe you won't even have to do anything creative because with a very small space, he just won't be able to make 2 eyes. So this is now a little bit complicated, but if we go all the way back here, when he tried it for the first time, if you remember, you could have responded like this to minimize his potential, and nothing would have happened. All of those difficult things, 30 moves later, they wouldn't have happened just after this simple response. This and nothing to do for white. I mean, sure, white can try something like this, but you can just extend. No need to fight. Minimize his possibilities. Just extend, and where to go next for white? I don't know. If white tries this, what would you do?
Go to N3.
Yes, very nice, very nice. Shape-wise, it seems like you should play something like this, which is also okay. But N3 is completely destroying all his hope. Once you play here, no space to make eyes anymore. Perfect, yes. So that's kind of how you do it. You minimize the space and just no hope for your opponent after that. Okay, let's look at the second game. Let me stop this.